So after a subpar performance from the secondary in week 4, the Eagles went out and made a huge addition to shake things up on the back end that hopefully helps fix some of these issues. But it seems this might not be the only move that the Eagles end up making, so what could Howie Roseman possibly be planning? Also, we got some huge updates on some key injuries the Eagles are dealing with ahead of their matchup with the Rams, plus Nick Sirianni gave us a guarantee regarding Dallas Goedert's touches moving forward, and Nicholas Morrow has been an absolute star at linebacker for the Birds after being cut back before the season. Has he earned a permanent spot as a starter for this team? Well, we're going to talk about all that in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So everyone knows that despite being 4-0 through the first quarter of the season, the Eagles are nowhere near perfect, as at various points during the team's first 4 games, we've seen a bunch of different flaws that are holding them back from reaching their full potential, and in their most recent game versus the Commanders, the most obvious flaw was their pass defense, as Sam Howell and the Commanders offense had a very nice day, and they were able to move the ball consistently, which allowed this game to stay close and for the Commanders to eventually force it into overtime. And if the pass defense had been better, there's a very high chance that the Eagles would have won that game in regulation. Now, I do think that there's plenty of blame to go around for the poor pass defense between both the players and the coaches. For the coaches specifically, I just thought that they called the game too conservatively. In key situations, I think Sean Desai had the corners backed way too far off the receivers, which allowed for easy completions and key conversions on third down. And then on the last drive in regulation specifically, they were far too conservative the whole way, including the last play, which allowed the Commanders to score and tie the game. But then on the player side, they just didn't play well enough, simple as that. I mean, a lot of guys in the secondary struggled in coverage, particularly Josh Jobe, who ever since he's filled in on the outside due to various injuries, just has not been great. I mean, last game he let up a few big plays, including the game-tying touchdown, and I think it's safe to say at this point, he just wasn't getting the job done. I mean, I think Jobe is a solid young player who has the potential to develop into a serviceable piece for a defense, but he's just not there yet, and with the Eagles trying to win now, he was either going to have to figure it out, or Howie Roseman was going to have to go out and make a move to bring in someone else. And on Tuesday, the second of those two things happened, as Howie Roseman and the Eagles went out and signed former Broncos, Texans, and Saints slot cornerback Bradley Roby, which I personally think is a fantastic move. Now, Roby apparently had interest from other teams, but he wanted to come to Philly to try and help them win a Super Bowl, and after a workout on Tuesday, the two sides were able to agree to a deal. Now, most recently, Bradley Roby played for the Saints in 2022, where he missed 4 games due to an ankle injury, but he started in 10 of the 13 games that he did play in, and in those games, he ended up with 5 pass breakups. He was also targeted 63 times and gave up 34 catches along with 409 yards, and he only gave up a completion percentage of just 54%, and he only allowed 1 touchdown and a 79.4 QB rating. So, judging by the numbers, Roby is still a serviceable player at 31 years of age, and even though, yes, he was cut after training camp this year by the Saints, and by no means is he a star player, I think there's a very good chance that he can be inserted right away into this Eagles defense and make a positive contribution. His addition, assuming they start him, will not only fill that slot cornerback position with someone who's played that position their whole career and is comfortable there, but it will also allow for James Bradberry to go back to the outside and stay there, which I don't think I ever really agreed with Bradberry playing primarily in the slot because of how good he is on the outside. I mean, the guy was an all-pro last year, and he's played outside his entire career, so I thought that putting him inside meant sacrificing some of the production quality you're getting from Bradberry simply because he's not used to playing the position. But now again, with the addition of Roby, Bradberry should be able to slide back to the outside and remain there depending on when and if they give Roby the starting slot cornerback job. And this also means that Josh Jobe no longer has to play, which is great. So overall, I really think that this move could end up going a long way in helping to shore up the Eagles secondary, and who knows, Howie may not be done. We know he's a guy who's always looking to improve the roster any way he can, and that secondary still has a weakness at the one safety spot opposite Reed Blankenship, so could Howie be planning to make a move there before the trade deadline in a few weeks? I mean, there have been a lot of rumors surrounding Panthers safety Jeremy Chinn recently, as many have named him as a perfect option for the Eagles to go get, with them in need of a safety and the Panthers being one of the worst teams in the NFL. I mean, I personally love that move. I mean, I don't know how much the Eagles would have to give up in order to get Chinn, but it would surely help fix some of their problems in the secondary. I mean, Chinn is a very solid player who's put up some good numbers in his career and has become a captain, but he's just never been able to contribute to winning, obviously because he's been with the Panthers his whole career. So a move to Philly would be a great opportunity for him specifically, especially in a contract year where if he were to come to the Eagles and help them go on a long playoff run and maybe even win a Super Bowl, that could go a long way in helping him get paid this offseason. And for the Eagles, Jeremy Chinn's contract situation is perfect right now because he's currently on the last year of his rookie deal, so it wouldn't really hurt the Eagles at all against the cap, and maybe he could become someone who the Birds want to keep around long term. I mean, Chinn's also a versatile player that can be moved all around to play at safety, slot cornerback, and even linebacker, so overall, I just think that this would be an amazing move, and it's something that I think the Eagles should be highly interested in. Plus, on top of that, it's also been reported recently that the Eagles could be interested in wide receiver from the Bears, Chase Claypool, as a backup option, which I personally don't love because I kind of think he's a quitter, but if anyone can get Claypool back to playing at a high level, I guess it would be the Eagles. And then of course there are the ongoing rumors about Budda Baker, which seems a bit unrealistic, but it's still something to monitor. So what do you guys think? How do you feel about the addition of Roby, and would you like to see the Eagles go out and make any of these other moves? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Now, roster moves aside, we got some other big news regarding the Eagles ahead of their Week 5 matchup with the Rams, so don't worry, we're going to get to that in just a minute. But real quick here before we do that, I just want to say, if you are enjoying this video and want to see others like it coming in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Around 80% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed. If you're one of those people and you love content covering the Philadelphia Eagles and you don't want to miss any of that coming in the future, make sure you subscribe and also turn on notifications. I think that's a win-win for the both of us. And now with that being said, let's get back into the video. So we've got some key injury updates for the Eagles ahead of this Week 5 game in LA, starting with right guard Cam Jurgens, who reportedly suffered a foot sprain in the Eagles win over the Commanders. Luckily, the injury doesn't seem to be as serious as it could have been, but he is now listed as week to week with the injury, so it seems like he could be out for a little bit, which definitely does stink because Cam Jurgens was off to a great start this season, and he was playing like one of the better guards in football, so hopefully he's able to recover quickly, but I still think that the Eagles will probably be okay without him. I mean, Sua Opeta did a good job after Jurgens went out on Sunday. The tough thing is that the Eagles got one of the best defensive players of all time in Aaron Donald this week, so they're going to have to do a good job to help out Opeta when he's locked into that matchup with Donald. And then some other injury news that we have is in regards to punt returner Britton Covey. He's currently in concussion protocol, which definitely is not ideal, so hopefully he's able to clear that in time for Sunday's game. If not, then the Eagles will have to rely on some other guys to fill in Covey's absence. Now we'll probably end up getting some other injury updates later on today. Maybe by the time you're seeing this video, we already have those, so I'll do my best to keep you guys updated, maybe down in the comments below in a pinned comment, and I'll definitely be sure to talk about it more in videos this week. Now, speaking of injuries, someone who has filled in very nicely for an injured player is linebacker Nicholas Morrow, as ever since Nakobe Dean went down with the foot injury that left him on IR, Morrow has been balling out, as he's currently the second highest graded linebacker in the entire NFL behind just Roquan Smith. And he's coming off a crazy game versus the Commanders where he had 11 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits, and 1 forced fumble. So yeah, safe to say Nicholas Morrow has been extremely impressive, and this comes after he was cut by the Eagles during training camp. So the fact that he's playing this well is truly a great story. And now at this point, I feel like Morrow's earned himself a starting job. I mean, even when Nakobe Dean comes back, you just can't take Morrow off the field because he's just been too good. So that'll be interesting to watch when Nakobe eventually returns from IR. Zach Cunningham has also been playing well too, so I'll be curious to see how this plays out. I mean, is there a chance Nakobe lost his starting job while dealing with this injury? I personally doubt it, but again, you can't take Morrow off the field, and Cunningham has been balling out as well, so that'll definitely be something to monitor. But what do you guys think? What do you see happening when Nakobe Dean eventually returns? Now, the last thing I want to talk about here is Dallas Goedert, because obviously he has not had the start to the season that many expected. Goedert has been one of the league's best tight ends over the past couple seasons, and that's still a true statement. It's just that the Eagles haven't really utilized him at all to begin the year. I mean, he has just 13 catches on 19 targets for only 88 yards and no touchdowns in the first 4 games, and his yards per reception is by far the lowest it's ever been at just below 7 yards per catch. I mean, that number has never been below 10 in his career, so it's safe to say that the Eagles have not incorporated Goedert enough or in the right way to start the year. But despite his lack of early success, Nick Sirianni just recently guaranteed that that's going to change.
I still think it's a small sample size. Trust me, I promise you, he's still part of the plan of wanting us to get him the football. We need to get him the football. Even though he's not contributing the way we all envision him to contribute right at this particular time in the pass game, he's been a force in the run game, a force. And so Dallas still changes the game because of what he does in the run game. And he still changes the game of being somebody in the pass game that they're concerned of, where it opens up the field for other people. So he'll get going. I'm certain of that. But you know, we got to do our job as coaches to get him going.
So that's great to hear. Obviously, the Eagles know how talented Goedert is. He is still definitely making an impact without getting the ball like Sirianni said, but moving forward, Goedert just needs to get the ball more, and Sirianni acknowledged that and pretty much guaranteed that he will get going, and they're going to do what they can to try and get him the ball more. So hopefully that starts this week versus the Rams. There's without a doubt going to be plenty more news that comes out this week leading up to that game, so if you don't want to miss any coverage regarding that, again, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, make sure you like this video if you did enjoy and want to show some support. And also, again, leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you want to watch another video recapping the Eagles' win over the Commanders, you can go watch this right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.